Hello and welcome to Big Weekend here on the Football365 show, brought to you by Paddy Power. I'm your host, Mark Smith. I'm here as ever with Sarah Winterburn. Ding dong, the witch is dead, Sarah. The witch in this case being international football, and instead to be replaced by our much more respected colleague, the Premier League. And we're going to talk about that. Leicester versus Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Brighton, a couple of others all coming up here on Big Weekend, brought to you by Paddy Power. Right, Sarah, let's start with Leicester versus Man City. A nice way to get back into the domestic schedule.
Really nice. It's a sexy one, isn't it? What you don't want after the international break is to come back and find that you're watching Burnley Wolves, do you? So this is great. And a rare one here that we've got Man City probably looking for some sort of revenge, because it was probably that Leicester drubbing earlier in the season that sparked sort of change at Man City. And sort of woke them up as to what they were facing this season. And they've, to be fair, they've been pretty much relentless ever since. And you'd fancy them to do the same again to Leicester. I think that fear from that first game might just make it a little bit nervous initially, I think. But, this City side is much better than this Leicester side at the moment. They're much better than anybody at the moment. So you'd fancy that they would run away with it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester, though, against Man United just before the international break, I thought were just brilliant. I thought it was one of the best performances I've seen from them all season. And Man City, they've had a few wobbles where they've only won by the odd goal. So I think this could be a really tight one. I'm looking at the likes of Ndidi to really step up in this game and show us exactly why he's rated so highly as one of the best defensive mids in the country.
It really is, but you remember that that game he played was against Man United. Now, tactically, Man United are a million miles away from Man City. And the thing is, with City, what we see is that movement between all those attacking midfielders, and also if you play a false nine, you're talking about 4 or 5 players all moving in that space that Wilfred Ndidi wants to occupy. Now, for Man United, he was pretty much, right, just stay on Bruno Fernandes. No one else moves, so you'll be fine. And he did a great job of that, but United don't have the same movement as City have. And, he will have to deal with, pretty much on his own, he'll be dealing with De Bruyne, Foden, Jesus if he plays dropping in, Mahrez. Everybody wants to play in that same space, don't they? Gundogan obviously coming from deep. And that's a massive job. And, City have been at the peak of where they should be in recent weeks. And unless, sometimes you get that little bit of slowness coming out of an international break, and that might be that might be Leicester's best chance that City are just a little bit off it as we come in.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's probably their best opportunity, isn't it? It's hard to tell with bets on Man City goal scorers because Pep does change it so often. But I'm going to go with Riyad Mahrez to score against his old club here. Riyad Mahrez anytime as part of my Paddy Power 4-way accumulator. Right, let's move on. Second game I want to talk about. Traditionally a very big game. It's sort of fallen off a little bit over the last few years, but Arsenal-Liverpool should provide a fair bit of entertainment, I think.
It will, and also because we're getting to the stage where Liverpool, if they do want to sort of push on, and they still do have an outside chance of a Champions League place, quite possibly. Certainly with Leicester's running as well. Leicester have a horrendous running, and you look at that and you think Liverpool could possibly catch Leicester if they can get their act together. Now this means, playing a team like Arsenal, who are on paper are one of the few that have had a worse season, the biggest club that have had a worse season than Liverpool. In theory, Liverpool should go into this as favourites. I'm not sure they are really. It's a funny one. Arsenal probably don't need this as much as Liverpool do, which might well play into Jurgen Klopp's hands. But then we've got Liverpool playing Real Madrid next week, so you don't know where everybody's priorities are going to lie.
Do you believe that? Do you believe Arsenal have had a worse season than Liverpool? I don't think they have, relatively. What did you expect from Arsenal at the start of the season?
I think I expected from Arsenal, I did expect a Champions League battle from Arsenal. I expected them to fight to be in that top 4. After the end of the season that they had with, let's not forget, it's because it's a year ago, that the start that they had under Mikel Arteta was very impressive. And they won the FA Cup and they beat Liverpool and they looked like they were on, they were certainly in a race for the top 4. So they're now in mid-table. I'm not saying that they've had a necessarily worse season than Liverpool, but the figures suggest they've got a worse team. The league table suggests that. Yeah. So Liverpool should go into this as favourites, and they really do need to win this game. Liverpool have got quite a good run in. They've got quite a decent run in if they can just get some momentum going. But that means getting the momentum going now because they're running out of time.
Yeah. Yeah, so about eight or 9 games left for most teams. I think a couple have got 10 maybe. But yeah, this is now the point of the season where it's do or die. It's now or never. In this game, I'm going to go for both teams to score here. Liverpool still can't really defend. And Arsenal, well, it's Arsenal. Okay, let's move on. Newcastle versus Spurs. Callum Wilson back in training for Newcastle. I don't think he'll make this game, but how important is it that Steve Bruce gets in his number 9, his only real goal scorer, to give him any sort of chance of fighting this relegation?
Absolutely immeasurable. I think it is the difference between them staying up or going down. Now, they're quite lucky that Fulham, despite all the plaudits, and we have been giving them loads of plaudits, haven't we, that actually they're not picking up a massive amount of points. So they're not really narrowing that gap too much. So, all Fulham really need to do is to stay within 3 points, don't they, to get to that final day and give themselves, leave it in their own hands. Now, Newcastle could absolutely crush that if they can just win 2 or 3 games, because I don't know if Fulham are capable of winning 2 or 3 games before then. They're capable of not getting beaten badly. Are they capable of winning enough games? Now, Wilson is the difference between those two teams, probably. So him coming back is absolutely massive. I don't expect them to get anything out of this Spurs game. Spurs have very quietly gone about, whilst looking like an utter shambles, they've quietly gone about being the form team in the Premier League, which is crazy.
They're number 1 in the form table or something, aren't they?
Over the last 5 games, I know it's a small, but we think of them as having an absolutely disastrous time, and they're the form team in the Premier League. And so you'd imagine, this is a Newcastle side that really shouldn't be bothering Spurs, isn't it? I mean, this should be a gimme for Tottenham. And to be fair to Newcastle, this is not where they expect to pick up those points. And like you say, it's Callum Wilson's return in the next few weeks that could well pull them near, pull them close. Pull them near? Pull them close? What on earth?
Pull them near is fine. Oh, this is good stuff. But the thing is, Sarah, it is still a Jose team. We don't know what's going to happen. You say, you can't see anything other than a Spurs win, but we've seen this plenty of times, haven't we, with the Jose side. I'm actually going to go for a draw in this game.
Just have a feeling. Everything I say.
I don't have to agree with you, Sarah. It makes great TV. Right, draw in that game. Let's go on to our final 2 games. United versus Brighton. I think now Brighton have given themselves I can't see them going down, I think, Brighton. They played good football all season. They finally started to put some results to go alongside those performances. I feel like they've got some excellent individuals. And the likes of, Trossard has really stepped up the last few weeks. I think they're going to be fine now. And I think they play a United side that are doing well, but I think they've got a chance of getting something here.
They definitely have a chance of getting something here. Brighton do have a really difficult run-in. That's the only question mark over them. They do have, I think, the most difficult run-in of any team in the Premier League as we go into the last few games. But I do think Brighton have got enough. They're just too good. I mean, I know people say too good to go down, but usually when people say that, they're talking about that West Ham side or whatever who had the players were too good to go down. This is not a Brighton side whose players you think are too good to go. It's just the style of football, the manager. I think they are too good to go down. I think the style will keep them up. Man United, they're just going to trumble along to the end of the season, aren't they? As long as they finish second, they're going to probably... I can't imagine them putting too much of a run together, especially with the Europa League being a massive distraction. I think Brighton will see this as an opportunity. I really do. I think they could at least get a draw here. I think on their day, they're the equal of Man United. I mean, I know that sounds silly when you look at the Premier League table.
No, I know what you mean.
But I do think they are.
I know exactly what you mean. United, is it a big deal for United to finish second? What's the difference between second and third? Who cares, really?
I think massive in terms of progress. That's I don't think there's a massive difference in terms of, especially if you're not sort of improving massively in points wise. But it's selling it, isn't it? It's selling it as, look, we've made a step forward. The problem with this, if you go from third to second, where do you go from there? There's only one place, and at the moment it doesn't look like they're capable of making that final step. So you're wondering what is the difference. But it is a way to, it's hashtag progress, isn't it? It's a way to sell it.
You're so young. I forget how young you are. Right,
I'm actually
final
older
game.
Than you. Carry on.
No, I know, but listen, using hashtag progress. Jesus Christ. Okay, TikTok dance next week, is it, to celebrate someone's victory? Wolves West Ham, final game we're going to talk about. West Ham, we all assumed that hard run of games they had, they'd fall along the way and completely blow themselves up and give themselves no chance of European football. But actually, they've hung in there. They look really good still.
They do still look really good. I think we talked about it last time, that Jesse Lingard signing is phenomenal for them. I think it's a brilliant signing. Like I said before, he's a system player and David Moyes is a system manager, and it really works. West Ham, the 5th, do I see them going in the Champions League? No, not at all. I don't think they've got enough quality for that, and certainly they don't seem to have the belief against the bigger sides to really take them on. But they should be beating a team like Wolves. They are better than a team. Wolves are having a very mess season. There's nothing about that Wolves side that screams dangerous at the moment. And I think West Ham are better. And they can just, the Europa League place would be a massive step forward for West Ham, particularly where they came from at the start of the season, where we all thought Moyes wouldn't last. We all thought this was, still a basket case club. There's all that fuss about Grady Diangano, which now looks ridiculous. This is a West Ham side who, if they finish 5th or 6th, they've had a phenomenal season, and you'd have to say Moyes had probably done enough to be amongst the 3 or 4 best managers
I
of the
think
season.
if they finished top 10, I mean, every West Ham fan would have taken that at the start of the season, and I think you have to look at that as being the barometer of it. You're right about Wolves, though. I just feel like they've got some really good individuals. They don't play any sort of attacking football. I know Jimenez has been out so long, and that maybe another 10 points could be added to their total with him in. But I don't mind seeing Wolves lose these games because they don't offer me that much as a neutral in these games. So I'm going to go for West Ham, an away win in that one to finish off my Paddy 4-way accumulator. If you miss out, by the way, on your accumulator by one result, then you still get your money back by way of a free bet. So good lads, Paddy Power. Right, Sarah, that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you guys at home for watching. We'll be back same time, same place next week here on the Football 365 show, brought to you by Paddy Power.